I carried Coal Industries for 12 years, and my father stood before the whole family and said, "Nathan is the future of this family." It was the third anniversary gala for the company's NASDAQ listing. I had just flown in from New York City. 3 months. That's what it took to land the exclusive Keystone Consolidated Partnership. I stood at the entrance to the ballroom and listened to the roar of applause. It wasn't for me. It was for my brother, the one who'd spent 8 years studying abroad and hadn't worked a single day in his life. I smiled. "Fine. Let's see what Coal Industries is without me." 12 years ago, I was 22. The acceptance letter for the fully funded PhD program at MIT had just arrived. My father's call came a moment later. "Caleb, the company's in trouble." His voice was shaking on the other end. "You're the oldest son. You have to come home." I glanced at the acceptance letter. Materials Science. A straight shot PhD. I thought about it for 3 seconds. Then I slid the letter into a drawer. Back then, Coal Industries was $4 million in debt. Suppliers were camped out at our door every single day. Our employees hadn't seen a paycheck in 3 months. My father couldn't sleep. Night after night, he was just pacing. "Caleb, I'm so sorry," he told me. "Once things turn around, I promise I'll make it up to you." I didn't say anything. I just took over. The first year, I recovered $2 million in unpaid receivables. The second year, I cut 3 failing product lines and repositioned our brand in the market. The third year, I landed our first major client. His name was Bill Jensen. It took 67 meetings, just me grinding it out to get him to sign. From that day on, Bill Jensen trusted me, not Coal Industries. I won't bore you with the rest. 5th year, we were in the black. 8th year, our revenue broke 8 figures. 10th year, we started the IPO process. 12th year, I stood on the balcony at the NASDAQ and rang the opening bell for Coal Industries. My father was standing next to me. He was weeping. "Caleb," he said, his voice choked with emotion, "you're the hero of this family." I just smiled. A hero. I was the hero. So what did that make my brother? My brother's name is Nathan. He's 6 years younger than me. Never got good grades, but he could charm anyone. My parents adored him. I was sent to boarding school at 12 because, as they said, Caleb is mature. He can take care of himself. Nathan was still sleeping in my mother's room at 18. I paid my way through college with scholarships and part-time jobs. Nathan went to study in the UK, costing the family over $100,000 a year. The year I took over the company, he had just left. He told me, "Bro, I'll study hard overseas and come back to help you run things." 8 years. He was gone for 8 years. I'd ask my dad, "When is Nathan graduating?" My dad would say, "He's working on his doctorate. Don't rush him." A doctorate. I found out later he never even finished his bachelor's degree. He had no problem spending the money, though. 8 years. $800,000. All of it earned by me. My mother would say, "It's not easy for your brother over there. You're the big brother. You need to carry the burden." I didn't argue. Carry the burden. It's the one thing I've always known how to do. 3 months ago, Keystone Consolidated announced they were looking for a partner in the renewable energy sector. This was the critical next step for Coal Industries. My dad said, "Caleb, you're the only one who can close this deal." I nodded. I knew what he meant. Keystone CEO, Mr. Hayes, was an alumnus from my university. I'd helped him out of a tight spot 10 years ago, and he'd never forgotten it. "Don't worry," I said. "I'll have it done in 3 months." The day I left for New York, Nathan had just gotten back from the UK. He met me at the airport, grinning. "Bro, leave the company to me. I'll hold down the fort." I looked at him. I hadn't seen him in 8 years. He'd put on weight, and his eyes had a shifty, clever look to them. I said, "You just got back. Get the lay of the land first." He said, "Relax. I know what I'm doing." What he was doing, I would find out 2 months later, was calling a board meeting 3 days after I left. 3 months in New York. Mr. Hayes was not an easy man to win over. He operated on 2 principles: rules and relationships. The rule was, the project proposal had to be flawless. The relationship was, he only worked with people he trusted. I spent a month building the proposal, a month refining the details, a month negotiating the terms. Finally, on the 81st day, he nodded. "Caleb," he said, looking me straight in the eye, "I'm signing this contract with you." I paused. "With me?" "That's right," he said. "I don't care about Coal Industries. I trust you." He pushed the contract across the table. Party A, Keystone Consolidated. Party B. Caleb Cole. Not Cole Industries. Me. Personally. Are you sure about this? I asked. He smiled. I've never been more sure. I didn't hesitate. I signed it. It was a 5-year exclusive partnership. Value. $200 million. What Hayes was giving me wasn't charity. It was trust, earned over a decade. He trusted me. He didn't trust my family's company. The night I signed a contract, I got a call. It was Frank, a veteran employee at the company. Mr. Cole, he said, his voice low. There's something. I don't know if I should be telling you this. Spit it out, Frank. 3 days after you left, your brother called a board meeting. I didn't say a word. He said it was to discuss a strategic realignment for the company. What was discussed? Frank was quiet for a moment. Sir, I think you should come back and see for yourself. He hung up. I stood at my hotel window, looking out over the New York City skyline. A board meeting. Strategic realignment. I'd been gone less than 100 days, and my family was already making moves. Interesting. I didn't fly back immediately. I sent a text to my head of R&D. Davis, any major changes at the office lately? Davis replied instantly. Mr. Cole, your brother asked us to compile all the core technical documents for him. Did you give them to him? No. I told him only you could authorize that. What did he say? He said, my brother's not here. I'm in charge now. I laughed. My brother's not here. He's in charge now. Okay, great. I made another call to Bill Jensen. Bill, has anyone from my company reached out to you recently? Bill sounded a little awkward. Caleb, your brother asked me to dinner yesterday. What did he say? Said he was taking over operations at Cole Industries, and that I should direct any future needs to him. And what did you say? Bill snorted. I told him I only deal with you, and no one else. The look on his face was priceless. I said, thanks, Bill. What's going on, Caleb? Bill asked. Is there trouble back home? I paused for a beat. Bill, when I get back, dinner's on me. You got it, he said. If you need anything, you know who to call. I hung up. Outside, the lights of the city burned bright. I stood there for a long time. Then, I started looking up the minutes from that board meeting. Frank had secretly taken photos of the meeting minutes and sent them to me. I went through them one by one. The more I read, the colder I felt. Meeting date, March 15th. 3 days after I left. Attendees, Robert Cole, my father, Nathan Cole, Mark Cole, my uncle, David Cole, my other uncle. Topic, discussion on the future direction and management restructuring of the company. I saw the words, management restructuring, and laughed. Management. I was the management. I kept reading. Agenda item number 1, Nathan Cole's statement. My brother has worked hard all these years, but his skills are better suited for execution, not for making strategic decisions. My skills weren't suited for strategic decisions. Really? Who made the decisions that took a company from $4 million in debt to a public listing? Agenda item number 2, Robert Cole's statement. Nathan is right. Caleb is a doer, an operator, but he lacks the big picture perspective. Nathan has studied abroad for years. He has a wider worldview and is better suited to guide the company's overall direction. I lack perspective, but a kid who spent $800,000 to not even finish a bachelor's degree has a grand vision. Agenda item number 3, Mark Cole's statement. I agree. Caleb has worked hard, no doubt, but the company belongs to the Cole family, not just him. Now that Nathan is back, it's the right time for him to take over. Agenda item number 4, David Cole's statement. No objections. Agenda item number 5, resolution. Unanimous approval. Effective upon Caleb Cole's return, Nathan Cole will be appointed Chief Executive Officer. Caleb Cole will be reassigned to the role of Vice President. Unanimous. I stared at that word. Unanimous. 12 years of my life, traded for a unanimous vote. I put my phone down. The city lights were still brilliant, but I felt cold. A deep, penetrating cold. I picked up the phone again and scrolled down. There was one more page. Appendix, regarding share allocation adjustment. My hand froze. Share adjustment? I read on. In light of Nathan Cole's formal entry into company management, and to secure his decision-making authority, the family has agreed that Robert Cole will transfer 30% of his personal shares to Nathan Cole. 30%. My father gave 30% of the company to Nathan. I kept reading. Transfer date. 3 years prior. 3 years ago. Not now. 3 years ago. Which meant that for the last 3 years, Nathan has held a 30% stake in the company. And me? The person who actually built the company? How much did I hold? 15%. My father had given me 15%. He gave Nathan 30%. He had planned this 3 years ago. Let me do all the work. Let Nathan swoop in and reap the rewards. I laughed out loud. So that's how it was. From the very beginning, I was just a tool. 4. I didn't go back right away. I poured myself a whiskey. Then, I started making calls. The first was to Davis, my head of R&D. Davis, your tech team. How many of them did you build from the ground up? Davis thought for a second. The core 12, they've all been with me since the beginning. Are they loyal to Cole Industries, or are they loyal to you? There was a pause. Mr. Cole, what are you getting at? Exactly what I said. Another pause. They're loyal to me, he said. And to you. To no one else. Good, I said. Don't release any technical files to anyone. Wait for me. Understood. The second call was to Bill Jensen. Bill, our service agreement. Is the contract with Cole Industries, or with me personally? Bill was surprised. It's with you personally. You said at the time you wanted flexibility, so I never signed with the corporate entity. That's right, I said. Bill, if one day I was no longer at Cole Industries, would you still be willing to work with me? Bill laughed. I told you, kid. I follow the talent, not the company name. Wherever you go, my business goes. Thank you. Caleb, what the hell is going on? Why get back? Dinner's on me. The third call was to another major client, Lee Martinez. The conversation was almost identical. The conclusion was the same. They worked with me, not with Cole Industries. The fourth call was to Mr. Hayes. Mr. Hayes, the contract. How long can you keep it confidential? Hayes replied, How long do you need? 1 month. Done. I put the phone down. Outside, the sky was beginning to lighten. I watched the dawn break over New York City and finished my whiskey. Okay, all the pieces were in place. It was time to go home. 5. I returned on April 18th, the day of the Cole Industries' 3rd anniversary gala. The entire extended family was there. When I arrived, the ballroom was already full. My father was at the head table with Nathan by his side. Nathan was dressed in a bespoke suit, a wide grin plastered on his face. He saw me and stood up to greet me. Bro, you're finally back. He held out his hand. I looked at it. The same hand that had secretly taken a 30% stake in my company 3 years ago. The same mouth that had said, my brother's skills are limited at a board meeting. I smiled and shook it. I'm back. How did the Keystone deal go? He asked. Closed it. That's amazing. He clapped me on the shoulder. You're the man, bro. Come on, sit down, have a drink. I nodded. I walked into the ballroom. All eyes were on me. My father smiled and waved me over. Caleb, come sit here. He pointed to the seat next to Nathan. I walked over and sat down. My mother leaned in. Caleb, you've lost weight. It must have been hard out there. It was fine. It's good to be back, she patted my hand. Your father has a very important announcement to make later. An important announcement. I knew what it was. He was handing the company over to Nathan. I took a sip of my water, and I waited. About 30 minutes into the dinner, my father stood up. Everyone, today marks the 3rd anniversary of Cole Industries' public listing. He raised his glass. In these 3 years, Cole Industries has grown from a small workshop into a public company with a market cap in the hundreds of millions. This wouldn't have been possible without the support of everyone here. Applause broke out. But, he paused, for a company to grow, it needs a constant infusion of new blood. He looked at Nathan. Nathan has studied overseas for 8 years. He has a global perspective, a grand vision. I have decided that starting today, Nathan will serve as the Chief Executive Officer, with full responsibility for the company's operations. The applause was even louder this time. Nathan stood up, nodding graciously to the crowd. As for Caleb, my father turned to me. Caleb has given so much to this company over the years. His contributions are undeniable. From now on, he will focus his energy on technology and sales. The strategic decisions will be left to Nathan. He smiled. Nathan is the future of this family. Nathan is the future of this family. The words hit me like a knife. But my face remained impassive, smiling. The applause continued. My relatives raised their glasses to congratulate Nathan. Nathan is so accomplished. A brilliant move, Robert. Let each son play to his strengths. Caleb is the workhorse. Nathan is the visionary. It's a perfect combination. I held my water glass, watching it all unfold. Watching Nathan's triumphant face. Watching my father's satisfied smile. Watching the pride in my mother's eyes. A pride that was entirely for Nathan. I suddenly remembered 12 years ago. The day I gave up MIT. My father had said, "Once things turn around, I promise, I'll make it up to you." 12 years. Where was it? Where was the compensation? 30% of the company went to Nathan. The CEO position went to Nathan. The future of the family was Nathan. And me? I was to focus on technology and sales. In other words, keep working like a dog. I put my glass down, and I stood up. Hold on. Every head in the room turned toward me. The ballroom fell silent. 6. My father's brow furrowed. "Caleb, what are you doing?" I ignored him. I looked at the room full of my relatives. "I have something to say." Nathan came over, hissing in a low voice, "Bro, don't make a scene. We can talk about this at home." I glanced at him. A scene. I laughed. When have I ever made a scene? I turned back to the crowd. "Everyone, I'd like you to listen to a recording." I took out my phone, and I hit play. It was the audio from the board meeting. Frank had recorded it for me. Nathan's voice filled the room. "My brother's skills are better suited for execution, not for making strategic decisions." Murmurs started to ripple through the ballroom. My father's voice came next. "Caleb is a doer, but he lacks the big picture perspective. Nathan has studied abroad for years. He has a wider worldview." I hit pause. I looked at my father. "I lack perspective," I said, enunciating every word. "Is that your assessment of me?" My father's face changed. "Caleb, how did I get the recording?" I smiled. Some people at the company still remember what I did for coal industries. Unlike some people who forget favors faster than they cash checks. My mother stood up. "Caleb, your father is just doing what's best for the company." "Best for the company?" I turned to her. "Mom, let me ask you a question. Who was it that took this company from $4 million of debt to a public listing in 12 years? My mother's mouth opened, but no words came out. "It was me," I said. "Every invoice, every client, every all-nighter. That was all me." "And Nathan?" I looked at my brother. 8 years. $800,000 spent. Not a single day of work. Not a single dollar earned. I turned back to the crowd. "Now you tell me. Who has the vision?" The ballroom was completely silent. "Caleb." My father slammed his hand on the table. "That's enough." He stood up, his face crimson. "This company belongs to the Cole family. Not to you alone. Nathan is your brother. What's wrong with you letting him have this?" "Letting him have this?" I laughed. "Letting him have it?" I looked at him. "Dad, let me ask you. 3 years ago, when you secretly transferred 30% of your shares to Nathan, did you ask me to let him have it then?" The color drained from my father's face. The room erupted in gasps. 7. 30%. My Uncle Mark stammered. "Robert, when did you give Nathan 30%? My father's lips were trembling. This is a family matter." "A family matter?" I laughed. "This is a publicly traded company. Shareholder equity is a corporate matter, not a family matter." I pulled out another document. A copy of the share transfer agreement. Frank had dug it out of the archives for me. I read it aloud. "Transfer, Robert Cole. Transferee, Nathan Cole. Shares transferred, 30%. Data transfer, 3 years prior." I placed the document on the table. 3 years ago, Nathan was still studying for his doctorate in the UK. I looked at my brother. "You hadn't even stepped foot back in this country, and you were already a 30% shareholder." Nathan's face was ashen. "Bro, Dad gave that to me." "Correct," I nodded. "Dad gave it to you." I turned to my father. "So what about me?" My father was silent. "I'll tell everyone," I said. "I, Caleb Cole, have worked for this company for 12 years. And my stake? 15%. The room was in an uproar again. 12 years for 15%. I looked at my father. 8 years of nothing for 30%. "Dad, is this what you meant when you said you'd make it up to me?" My father's face cycled through red and white. He opened his mouth, trying to say something. I didn't give him the chance. "And one more thing." I looked at my mother. "Mom, what did you tell me on the phone last month?" My mother froze. I opened my phone. Another recording. It was my mother's voice. "Caleb, your brother is back now. You need to make way for him. You're the eldest. You're supposed to make sacrifices. He's going to take over the company, and you need to support him." The recording stopped. You're supposed to make sacrifices. I repeated the words. Mom, I've been making sacrifices since I was 12. I'm 34 now. I've put in 22 years of sacrifice. Isn't that enough? My mother's eyes welled up with tears. Caleb, that's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant. I cut her off. It has always been what you meant. When we were kids, Nathan got all the best things because he's the youngest. When we grew up, I got all the hard work because you're the oldest. Now, the company is successful, and Nathan gets to reap the rewards because I'm supposed to make sacrifices. I looked at her. Mom, I'm done. Starting today, I'm done making sacrifices. My mother covered her face and began to sob. I felt no pity. 22 years of favoritism can't be washed away with a few tears. 8. Enough. My father shot to his feet. His face was practically purple. Caleb, what do you think you're doing? He pointed at me. This company belongs to the Cole family. You don't get to call all the shots. My uncle Mark stood up too. Caleb, what is this all about? Making a scene in front of the whole family. Are you trying to split us apart? My uncle David nodded in agreement. Yeah, whatever the issue is, we can discuss it behind closed doors. You're making us a laughingstock. The relatives started whispering amongst themselves. What's gotten into Caleb? He must have gone through something stressful out of town. Robert should have known better. You can't favor one son so obviously. I listened to them and smiled. Split the family apart. I looked at my uncle. You're mistaken. I'm not here to split anything. I paused. I'm here to say goodbye. The entire room went still. My father was stunned. What does that mean? It means exactly what it sounds like. I looked at him. I, Caleb Cole, am officially announcing my resignation from Cole Industries. What? My father practically jumped out of his chair. Nathan did too. Bro, you can't do this. Nathan rushed toward me. The company needs you. I looked at him. Needs me? I smiled. Weren't you the one who just said I had limited skills and lacked perspective? Nathan's face froze. Nathan, you're the one with the worldview, the grand vision, right? I clapped him on the shoulder. So go on. Do great things. I won't be joining you. You, Caleb. My father lunged forward and grabbed my arm. You wouldn't dare. If you leave, what happens to the clients? The tech team? What about the Keystone deal? I looked at him. His eyes were filled with panic. Not pain. Panic. Dad, you finally asked the right question. I shook his hand off my arm. You want to know what happens with the Keystone deal? I pulled a file from my briefcase. This is the partnership agreement with Keystone Consolidated. I opened the file. Party A, Keystone Consolidated. Party B, I pointed to the signature line. Caleb Cole, not Cole Industries. Me, Caleb Cole. The color drained from my father's face. Mr. Hayes said he trusts me, not the company. I closed the file. So this contract goes with me. My father was shaking all over. You can't do that. You negotiated that deal for the company. Did I? I smiled. When you were all holding secret meetings behind my back, you didn't seem to think of me as part of the company. I looked at him. I'm just an operator, right? I lack perspective, right? Then what does the Keystone contract have to do with me? My father was speechless. His mouth hung open, his face a ghastly shade of pale. 9. And one more thing. I turned to the room. Bill Jensen, Lee Martinez, Steve Harrison. I listed the 3 names. They are Cole Industries' 3 biggest clients. I personally negotiated every one of their contracts. They trust me, not Cole Industries. I looked at my father. I walk, they walk. You also. I didn't let him speak. Davis's R&D team. 12 people. I built that team from scratch. They also trust me, not Cole Industries. I walk, they walk. A dead silence fell over the room. Nathan's face was completely bloodless. Bro, his voice trembled. You can't. If you take the clients and the team, what happens to Cole Industries? What happens? I looked at him. You're the visionary, aren't you? You're the one with a global perspective. You figured out. Nathan couldn't speak. He looked desperately at my father. My father just stared at me, his eyes filled with disbelief. Caleb, his voice was raspy. You're trying to destroy this family. No. I shook my head. I'm just taking back what belongs to me. The clients are mine. The technology is mine. The Keystone contract is mine. Cole Industries is yours. I looked at him. From now on, we go our separate ways. I turned and walked toward the door. Wait, It was my mother's voice. She ran over, crying, and grabbed my hand. Caleb, I'm begging you. You're the oldest son. You can't abandon this family. I looked down at her hand, the hand that had offered me so little warmth growing up, but it was always the first to grab me when there was trouble. Caleb is mature. Caleb is the oldest. Caleb is supposed to make sacrifices. I smiled, and I gently pried her fingers from my arm. Mom, you have another son. Go to him. I turned and walked out of the ballroom. Behind me, I could hear my mother's heart-wrenching sobs. I didn't look back. 10. Over the next 3 months, I heard things. Bill Jensen canceled his orders with coal industries. Lee Martinez canceled his orders. Steve Harrison canceled his. Davis and his entire R&D team resigned on the same day. The Keystone Consolidated contract, of course, never materialized for them. Coal Industries' stock price fell by 60%. The SEC opened an investigation into irregularities in their public disclosures. My father was forced into one contentious shareholder meeting after another. My uncles, Mark and David, started demanding answers about the 30% share transfer. They felt like they'd been cheated. And Nathan? I heard he tried to get a meeting with Bill Jensen. Bill wouldn't even see him. He tried to pitch a partnership to Lee Martinez. Lee told him, I only work with Caleb Cole. He tried to recruit new engineers. No one would come. The word was out in the industry about what kind of company Coal Industries was. The company that drove out its founder. That was their reputation now. Oh, and one more thing. Someone leaked the truth about Nathan's doctorate. It was fake. He hadn't even finished his bachelor's in his 8 years in the UK. The PhD diploma was a forgery he'd bought online. The story went viral. Heir to Fortune 500 company spent $800,000 on fake degree was a trending topic for a week. My father had a stroke from the stress and was hospitalized. My mother spent her days at home, crying. She called me. Caleb, please come back. I was wrong. I didn't answer. She sent me a long text message going on about how hard her life had been, how Nathan was sickly as a child and needed more attention, how it's impossible to treat 2 children exactly the same. I read it and didn't reply. Treating 2 children the same? One bowl was filled with filet mignon, the other with tap water. You call that fair? I muted her contact notifications. I got back to work. 11. 6 months later, my new company was incorporated. I named it Northstar Innovations. It wasn't big, but it was solid. The Keystone contract from Mr. Hayes was my seed capital. Bill Jensen, Lee Martinez, and Steve Harrison all became my founding clients. Davis's entire R&D team came with me. We were 30 people. Lean, but we had everything we needed. Our office is on the 23rd floor with a view of the entire city. On opening day, Mr. Hayes came by. He stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the traffic flow below. You've got what it takes, Caleb. I smiled. You're too kind, sir. It's not kindness. He turned to face me. Do you know why I signed that contract with you personally? Why? Because 10 years ago, when you helped me, you didn't know who I was. He said, you just did it because you thought it was the right thing to do. That's integrity. He clapped me on the shoulder. Your father doesn't get it. But I do. I looked at him. Thank you. Don't thank me, he smiled. You earned it. At the launch party, someone asked me about Coal Industries. I said, nothing to say. Someone else asked about my relationship with my family. I said, no relationship. They got the message and dropped it. After the party ended, I stood at the window, watching the city lights flicker to life. 34 years old, starting from scratch. It wasn't too late. My phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered. Bro. It was Nathan's voice. Bro, Dad's in the hospital. It's not looking good. Can you please come see him? I was quiet for a moment. No. Bro. He sounded frantic. He's our father. How can you? Nathan. I cut him off. My name is Caleb Cole. I'm not the family's oldest son. I'm just Caleb. I looked out at the lights. You take good care of him. Don't call me again. I hung up, and I blocked the number. Outside, the night was deep. The city lights sparkled like a river of stars. I stood there for a long time. Then I went back to my desk. A new contract was waiting for me. Another major client. I picked up a pen and signed my name. Okay, time to get back to work. 12. 1 year later, Northstar Innovations' revenue broke 8 figures. We landed 3 major projects, and our staff grew from 30 to 150. Mr. Hayes told me I was growing faster than coal industries ever did. I said, that's because there's no dead weight. He roared with laughter. Bill Jensen took me out for a celebratory dinner. Caleb, he said, raising his glass, the day you took over that mess your father left, I knew you were destined for bigger things. I smiled. You're too generous, Bill. It's not generosity, he said. It's the truth. We clinked glasses. After a few drinks, he asked, I hear coal industries is on its last legs? I nodded. Yeah. I'd heard. The stock was down 80%. They were facing a delisting warning from NASDAQ. All their core business lines had dried up. The same relatives who had praised Nathan's vision were now screaming for my father's resignation. My father came home from the hospital a changed man. He spent his days just sitting and staring into space. And Nathan? He tried to launch a comeback, but no one trusted him. The fake degree label stuck to him like a brand. No client would work with him. No talented people would work for him. He became a joke in our industry. I heard he's living off my father's retirement savings now. The so-called future of the family had become a freeloader. My mother has sent me a few texts. Caleb, please come home and visit. Caleb, I miss you. Caleb, your father isn't well. He wants to see you. I never replied. It's not about forgiveness. There's nothing to forgive. The past is the past. They have their life. You mean, we go our separate ways. And that's for the best. Today is Northstar Innovation's first anniversary. We had a small celebration in the office. My employees were laughing, popping champagne. Davis came over and handed me a glass. To you, Mr. Cole. I took it. What are we toasting to? To Northstar, he said. And to you. He looked at me. When you let us out of that place, you said something. I've never forgotten it. What was that? You said, it's not me supporting you. It's you who make me successful. He smiled. For that sentence alone, I'll follow you anywhere. I smiled back. Davis, we've still got a long way to go. Let's go together. We clinked glasses. Outside, the sun was bright. The city stretched out below us, a river of motion. I stood there, taking it all in. 35 years old. Northstar Innovations. My own company. My own team. My own life. No one owes anyone anything. No one is supposed to make way for anyone else. There is no oldest son, no future. There is only Caleb Cole. A Caleb who is no longer supposed to make sacrifices. I turned and walked back to my team. I raised my glass high. To 1 year of Northstar. Cheers! Cheers! The shout echoed through the office. Sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating every face. It was warm. It was really, really warm.